All right, in this fun and exciting video, what we'll talk about is identifying the slope and y-intercept of each line given an equation. And then what we'll do is, given the slope and y-intercept, we'll write out the equation of a line. So this should be fun. Now, in the first question, y equals 4x plus 2. Okay, so the slope is 4 and the y-intercept is 2. Okay, remember the form of the equation is y equals mx plus b. To get m, all you do is you identify the number or fraction right beside x to the left. And include signs, by the way. And then to get the y-intercept, all you do is identify what is right after the x to the right. Okay, and include any signs. So here, the slope is positive 4. And the y-intercept is a positive 2. Okay, now what about the next equation? Well, the slope is negative 5 over 6, and the y-intercept is positive 4. Now, here's where things get interesting. So this is the y-intercept. One more thing. I do not want you to include the x when you are explaining the slope. So the slope in this case is negative 5 over 6. It is not negative 5 over 6x. So if you write this out, that is a no-no. Okay? It is negative 5 over 6. Here's the interesting part about the next example. If you notice, in part C, there is no x term. What this means is that this equation can be written as y equals 0x plus 5. What that means is that the slope is 0. And obviously the y-intercept is 2. This, folks, is a horizontal line. It has 0 slope, no rise at all. However, in the next example, x equals 2, this is called a vertical line. Ladies and gentlemen, a vertical line has an undefined slope, and it has no y-intercept. It cannot cross the y-axis because it is parallel to the y-axis. So what I say is m is undefined, and no y-intercept. There you go. So that's how I identify the slope and y-intercept of a line given an equation. With that said, how do we get the equation of a line given a slope and y-intercept? Okay. Well, for the majority of cases, all you have to do is write out the equation y equals mx plus b and just replace m and b with the values that are given to you for most cases. So in the first example, m is equal to 2. I'm going to circle in red and I'm going to place it there. B in this case is negative 3. So I'm going to replace b with minus 3. And that's it. That's my equation. This is part A. What about part B? Well, the slope is negative 2 over 3, and the y-intercept is positive 1. So I'm going to write out my equation. And I'm going to replace m with negative 2 over 3. And I'm going to replace b with positive 1. And there you go. That's my equation for part B. What about part C? Y equals, and now m is 0. So notice that m is 0. So I can write 0, x, and now y-intercept is positive 3. So my equation is going to be y equals 3. Remember, this is a horizontal line. Y equals to a number. It has no rise. What about part D? Well, this must be a vertical line. I've got m is undefined. It does not cross the y-axis. And it says the x-intercept is 2. So it crosses the x-axis at 2. The equation of a vertical line is x equals to a number, so it's got to be x equals to 2. And there you go. Now, I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to identify the slope and the d-intercept. Now, I don't want you to get confused. The d-intercept is the same thing as saying the y-intercept. And the reason they call it the d-intercept is because in this specific example, the y-axis is distance d. Okay? In the same way, this wouldn't be an x-intercept, it would be a t-intercept, but they mean the exact same because the x-axis is time, t. So what do we need? We need the slope and the y-intercept. Well, it crosses the y-axis at 2. So the d-int equals 2. In this case, it's in units of meters. What about the slope? Well, I've got one point there. Let me do this in different colors. I've got one point there, and I need a second point, a nice point. Well, it's at the corner over here. That's a nice point. So all I need to do is analyze the rise and the run from red to blue. Well, I go up 1, if you notice, up 1, and over 3. Run is positive 3. So my slope, guys, is going to be 1 over 3. So I've got the slope, I've got the y-intercept, I'm done. So now all I need is the equation. So let's write out the equation. D equals mt plus b. So I can erase the m and replace it with what I found. I found 1 over 3. Now what's my d-int? My b, what is it? Well, it's 2. So all I need to do is replace my b with a positive 2. Now, what do they mean, though? What does the slope mean? Well, the slope, guys, in this case, tells me how much distance I cover in a certain amount of time. The slope is my speed. Because it's in units of meters per second. It tells me how much distance I've covered in a given amount of time, rise over run. So I cover 1 meter, if you notice, 1 meter in 3 seconds. So if I divide those two, I cover 1 meter every 3 seconds. I'm talking about my speed. Now, what does the y-intercept mean? Well, initially, I start off at a distance of 2 meters. So that's my starting position. I start off initially at time t equals 0 at 2 meters. And that's it. Now, we've done describing a walker's motion in a previous unit, so let's go over it. Starting at a position of 2, starting at 2 meters, okay, the walker moves away at a constant speed of 1 over 3 meters per second. That's it. Remember, you're moving away, and now we know what speed it is. It's the slope. And that's it. That is how we get the slope and y-intercept from an equation. how we write the equation given the slope and the y-intercept. I hope this video was enjoyable. It was enjoyable for me. So I'll see you in the next one. Love ya. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace out. Bye-bye.